And one very important thing is Asmongad's father died, which is really sad. I always liked seeing him on stream, which for one part is because I never had a father. So whenever I see fathers with their kids, I'm happy. So yeah, that's I'm not even 100% sure if I should do that. Making a video out of this. But I guess yeah, I will 100% watch it. So let's do it.
Hey guys, I don't really have much of a script for this one. Just gonna kind of do it off the top of my head. And I guess I want to talk a little bit about my dad. A lot of you guys probably already know, but earlier this week he passed away, and it was pretty traumatic to say the least. And
I bet. I remember the death of my grandfather on my mother's side literally hit me hard, like really, really hard. And even harder after I got to know what happened. You know, the entire story. It was even worse than I thought.
I was there with him the whole time. It was just me and him, and I kind of want to talk a little bit about it and explain kind of where I'm at, and also kind of like give you guys an explanation of, oh, why hasn't he been on? Well, that's the reason. Uh,
A very, very good reason.
3 or 4 days before he passed, the doctors told me that, well, actually, let me take a step back, okay? So, ever since about 2023, his health has been on the decline, and it has been on the decline despite his best efforts. He had fought against multiple infections. He got pneumonia 6 times in 2 years, basically, maybe a little bit longer than that. And one of them ended up, the most recent one, ended up leaving him hospitalized. That was the one later in June, and that's whenever things really, kind of the temperature of things really got turned up and it started getting really bad. But for about 2 years now, I've been doing a lot. I've been going over to his house, multiple times a week, doing a lot of chores for him, doing things like, anything from going shopping for him to, like doing the sheets on his bed, making sure that his floor is vacuumed, etc. Right? I was basically maintaining his entire house and cleaning it because, I didn't want to have to, I guess it's in a way dishonorable, I think, to him to like ask for maids to come clean up his house, especially. And
I can 100% see that. And yes, I would do the exact same thing. Because, as a kid, that's literally what you do for your parents. Unless your parents are total shit. If your parents are total shit, then, you know, you have no obligation to care for them when you're old. Which is why I only halfway care for my mother. Uh, maybe shouldn't have said that.
so it was my responsibility, I thought, as a son to do that for him, and I did. And so that was the reason why a lot of times I would end my stream at about 7 to 8 p.m. It's mainly just to call him and, make sure that he has everything he needs. And this has been something I've been doing for the past 2 years, ever since June of this year. And I mean, this is all, let me one more. I apologize. As I said, I don't really have like much of a internal script for this one. But when he got his pneumonia for the fourth time, before the fourth pneumonia, he's 76 years old. He's been through Vietnam. He's had heat stroke before.
Was about the age of my mother now. Yeah, yeah, you have to think, oh, 76, that's not that old. That it is old. He's almost 80. On my mother's side, my grandparents both died at age 80. That's old.
He has, again, 78. Half of one of his lungs was gone, and
Oh,
he was still walking, a brisk like 5K every single day in like 30 or 40 minutes. And this was like at 70.
Wait, what? He went out for drugs? But still at this age? Well, almost. That's impressive. Like, really impressive. Like, really, really impressive.
6 years old. He would do this every single day. And so, and this is after three pneumonias, but the fourth one really kind of, it pretty much almost got him. I mean, and, we were talking about this, and, he was a fan of boxing. And so, he was saying, it was like the count was 6 or 7, right? And it was like 4 or whatever. It's like he was almost out with that fourth pneumonia, but somehow he managed to pull through, and with a good type of new antibiotic and everything, he had recovered pretty much. Excuse me, pretty much entirely. And this was kind of like this had gone relatively well. Like he was going back to being at the store. He lived alone pretty much his whole life, and even at the end, I would come over every single day and help him for hours. But he did live alone. Like he would shower by himself. He would be able to take care of himself, cook himself meals, etc. Although that was something that I was kind of like, because I could see, I'm not stupid, right? And like I could see where things are going, so I had a lot of home care stuff, personal chefs set up, and everything were for whenever he thought it was time, I would be ready for it to be time. And so every
That's really good. That's really good. I, to be fair, I wouldn't have thought that he would think that far. With his always saying that, ignoring the problems and they will go away. Guess that was a problem that he couldn't ignore.
ever since 2023, he and I had been on relatively the same page that we were kind of living on borrowed time. And it was a miracle that he even came out of that pneumonia at all. And we ended up being able to, earlier this year, go to Florida. And Florida is where I was born. It's where he grew up as well. And it's where the majority of my family is. And so we went out there, and I think back right now to, like the fact that we were able to go out there. He was able to see everybody in the family and spend all this time with them. And at the time, I was very frustrated because I had to take time away from my stream. It was the same week that Expedition 33 came out. I was very
Of course. Oh, yeah. Of course, that's how he thinks. Yeah. Would we would we really expect anything else? Not really. Not really.
frustrated and annoyed, also oblivion. But I look back on that, and I'm just so proud and happy that I ended up making that decision at this point, right? Because he was able to see everybody, and he saw them in good health too. Like he was, I don't know how this even happened, but he was 78 at the time, and he was still walking around, and like going from like 9 a.m. to like 2 a.m. every single day. And so he had an incredible amount of energy, had like multiple jobs. And so now I guess now I can finally go to the recent period of time, which is whenever I kind of started being very intermittent in my streaming. You can look at my graph, and like my stream hours had went way down, right? And this was the reason. It was because my dad had been to the hospital 4 times, or sorry, 3 times, and the third time was obviously the time that he didn't leave. But the first time he had pneumonia, and he called me, and things just progressively got worse. The second time he called me, and I'm on the phone with him, and he calls me in the morning. He says, "Hey, I don't want you to freak out, okay? Like you always do, but I've got acute liver failure, and I need to go to the emergency room right now." And I'm like, I was like so in shock. I was like, I didn't know what to say, and so I asked him. I said, "Are you cooked?" And he's like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "Are you dead?" And he's like, I don't know. Let's go find out." And
You know, that's the awesome thing about, old people. They are so, you know, even if things happen that are really bad, they're like, yeah, whatever, What happens, happens. This is a typical. It's also a typical dude thing, you know. It's whatever. Yeah, let's see what's coming out of this. Yeah, we will see.
I'm like, okay. And so we go over there, and like he turned out, long story short, had pancreatic cancer. Not a good day. Worst cancer to have. And I remember telling him that he had pancreatic cancer, and somehow he didn't get the memo that he had pancreatic cancer. I was the one that was called and told before he was. And so he called me, and he's complaining about the nurses because the nurses are waking him up at night. And he's in the middle of a rant, and I interrupt him and I say, "Pa, just real quick, did the doctor talk to you?" He says, "No." He says, "What's going on?" I said, "You've got pancreatic cancer." He's, "Oh, okay." Well, so anyway, so it's like 4 in the morning.
I, to be fair, I wouldn't really expect anything else from his father. To be fair, I wouldn't. That's exactly the thing that everything I've seen of his father. Yeah, that's how he would react. 100%. Yes, I wouldn't expect anything else.
And this bitch comes in here, and he didn't even care. He didn't give a fuck. And it was honestly, like, I've never met a person in my entire life who gave less of a fuck than my dad. It's honestly been inspiring to me, and hopefully I try to embody that as much as I can. But it was really astonishing, and so he was in the hospital for that. And he came out of that, and obviously we went to the oncology place. And guys, I hate to say it, man, like I've been to hotels that are worse and that don't look as good as these oncology fucking places, these like clinics, everything. Never curing cancer, bro. Like, this is like they've got like fucking like everything is wood, like like polished oak. And like you go into the bathroom and it's got like almost like a golden fucking toilet. So yeah, guys, I don't know about this whole cancer cure thing you've got going on. A little bit unlikely, but anyway. So my
Let's
dad,
not let's not talk about that.
he and I went there, and he got along really well with the doctor. And he's walking in there. By the way, this is like after he's supposed to be on oxygen, and he had recovered so much that he would be walking around. This is like literally like at this exact time, right? More than about 2 weeks ago, he was walking around the local grocery store here at HEB. He was walking around with no oxygen, the whole store, just talking to people, shopping like normal, right? And
Nice.
then, it was really the chemotherapy. I think really was what got him.
Oh
Is
yeah,
that he
I can
had
see
his
that.
first, I think it's chemotherapy. And then this is like the same week that he was actually walking around the store. So like he had even got chemo. He was still walking around, no oxygen and everything. After the pneumonia, after the pancreatic cancer diagnosis, he was stage 2A with pancreatic cancer. So we were talking about like maybe like they were able to do a procedure to remove it. In retrospect, this procedure, if I think back on like what do they really do? This is like something that they would do in like Game of Thrones, right? It's like this isn't a surgery. This is like a procedure done by a medieval alchemist, and I don't
Jesus.
really think that he would have probably enjoyed that. And it's like realistically, I talked to my aunt about this, and she said, like, just do not get this procedure. It's really, really bad. It's actually worse. The treatment is worse than the disease. Just enjoy your last year and a half to 2, 3 years, and like, trust me, it's going to be better. Because also, whenever you remove it, there's a chance that on a microbiology molecular level, the cancer does end up spreading anyway. And so but there have been no metastasizing, etc. And my dad wanted to go through the chemotherapy, and he said, "All right, let's fuck it, let's just do it." And I said, "Okay, all right, well, this is what you want to do. We're gonna do it, right? It's his life." And so anyway, we went through it.
I love this. This is awesome. And for the people that wonder why is that dude smiling? Because the story is funny and entertaining. Yes, his dad is dead. That's sad. Of course it is. No one is denying that. But he's telling a story about his father. And in the story, his father is is the same as I would expect him. The same funny shit we have seen all the time. That's why. And I thought this video would be completely, completely sad. Completely, even I would be here so almost crying. But no. This is just another awesome story about his father. With a tragic end, but still an awesome story.
But second chemo, the day of his second chemo, like he had been feeling like kind of not really great, but I had kind of chalked that up to the first time he had gone out and done all that stuff that one day. And it's like you haven't gone out or done anything for an entire month. You haven't driven a car for a month, and you do all of this, and you go to the bank too after this. And big surprise, you're not really doing super great after that. But anyway, this is like maybe about like a week and a half ago. Like we go to the second chemo appointment, and he comes home and he's like talking like he's, oh my god, he's talking nonstop, right? And so on the way
Like old people do. All old people do that.
home,
Especially the woman.
and then halfway through the way home, he was just like, right, he was tired, and like I get it, like because he's done this before, right? I didn't really think much of it, but he comes back home and he just collapses on the bed, and he's like after that he's like super like cold, he's shivering. The house, by the way, like we forgot to turn on the AC. It's like 90 degrees Fahrenheit. It's so fucking hot. And so anyway, he's sitting there and he's freezing cold, and his back's hurting him, he can't fucking catch his breath, everything is awful. And I'm like thinking like, okay, well, I want to go home and get ready because I want to go live tomorrow. But like I couldn't do that because he was just in this situation. So one thing led.
Yeah, you don't leave someone in a situation like that. Never. But that's also a sign that, it's over. You either, stay and wait until it's over, and with over, I mean, he's gone, or you call an ambulance. Now, what is the will of the person in that situation? That's the important thing. Would he have wanted to, be revived if he is dead? Would he have wanted to be, have machines breathe for him and stuff like that? Would he want that? I by the way had that talk with my mother earlier this year because she's at that point. Uh, yeah, makes you think. Makes you think a lot.
To another, and I ended up just sleeping on the floor next to his bed that night. And he couldn't catch his breath all night. It was just awful. The next day we had an appointment for a pulmonology appointment, and we figured, well, I mean, instead of just going to the hospital, we might as well have them admit us to the hospital because it was pretty evident that that's what was going to happen. And so we go, and I have to take him in a wheelchair, and everything like that. He's on his oxygen, etc. And like he's not even like super really responsive. Like usually, like you guys have seen him like talking like multiple times. Like he used to be a college professor, right? I mean, like he was extremely sharp. And this is something that, like, I mean, besides like this last like week and a half, he'd never really lost much of his edge. And anyway, so basically, like, this is what happened. And he just kind of he went to the hospital, and obviously his blood pressure
We are now at the sad part of the story. It's very obvious.
was like 70 over 50. So that's not a very good one, is it? And he goes to the hospital, he gets admitted, and things basically are not good, but they're like, oh, we think it's this, we think it's that. The end result is that I don't think that they ever really found out entirely what was wrong with him. But in my opinion, it's like, oh yeah, you go and you get chemo, and then after that you collapse and have a massive fucking crash out where you can't breathe. Probably it was because of the chemo, right? I mean, I can't be sure.
But yeah, of course. You're stuffing a body full with chemicals. Of course, that's what's happening. Yeah. chemotherapy has a lot of side effects. I mean, that's why people lose their hair. It's a side effect.
but that's pretty much it. And so 4 days before he passed, 3 days before he passed, the doctors, I had two doctors in there telling me that, it wasn't a matter of if, but when he gets out of the hospital. I'm pulling into the hospital the next day. The doctor calls me and she says that, well, we don't know if he's going to leave the hospital. So whiplash, to say the least. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah. That's doctors. In Germany, we call them half gods in white.
I'm freaking out, right? I mean, like, it's just like, this is just, oh my God, right? Because I'm dealing with this, by the way, primarily by myself. Like all my family's in Florida. Lucky enough, and I'll get to this, but I was able to handle all this on my own. I did all this by myself. I had friends that would, reach out and try to help me, etc. But, for the most part, it was really just me doing all of this. And I'm lucky in a lot of ways, but like he's had a lot of friends over the years, obviously, and so many of them were able to like come see him and everything. But I think about it a lot myself, and I think to myself like, well, like growing up and even like as an adult, there was a lot of friction between me and my dad, right? I would get very angry at him. I'd be very, very furious, angry at him for a number of reasons. Same with my mom, but especially my dad. And I had a lot of resentment for a lot of different reasons, etc. Like I love my dad. I always love my dad.
Well, yeah, of course you have some resentments against your parents, especially when they are divorced. That really fucks with you. I mean, I know that myself. I have a lot of resentment against my mother, not against my father because I don't know him. How can I resent someone that I don't know at all?
But he would make me frustrated a lot, and the way that he would act sometimes would make me uncomfortable, and it would bother me a lot. And so there was a very big amount of friction there. But I remember when I was a kid, and he would always say this. He says, I'm not here to be your friend. I'm not here to hang out with you. I'm not here to be your buddy. I'm here to be your father and to raise you. So when the time comes and I'm gone, you're going to be able to keep going. And at the time, he's telling me this obviously when I'm 8 years old. And so this is like, I've never met anybody who is even remotely close to as much of a hard ass as my dad is. Like it's not even.
Well, to be fair, a war veteran, yeah. I mean, duh. Of course, it's it's not hard to believe.
Remotely close. And I'll tell him something bad that would happen to me, and this would turn into a story about how his family didn't have any money growing up, and so he had to hunt squirrels to feed the family. And so it was never, never a time that I could complain to him, and he wouldn't be able to one up it, which would be frustrating for me, right? And there was a lot of, again, like a lot of resentment and frustration there, but at the end of the day, he was a massive fucking hard ass, and that harshness and everything, I think, is probably a lot kind of where I get it from too. But I was thinking, and I would always resent this, and I'd be very frustrated. But I realized that when he was dying, I was there, and I was able to deal with it, and I was there the entire time. I went till the very end, and I think to myself, at the end of the day, he did it. He, I, I, he, I was ready, and I mean, not as ready as you can be, obviously, right?
Of course not. But yeah, his dad did his job. He did it well, and now we are here.
But I think about that a lot, and what he set out to do as a father for me, I think he achieved it. And I've had a number of days right now just to think about that, and it's been uh, I have a lot of very very complex feelings about that, and that's been basically what's been going on. I've obviously, had to contact all of my family members and everything and organize everything and deal with his will and everything. He's giving away most of his stuff to his friends. And we made a video of him, like, oh, this is going to this guy, it's going to this guy, it's going to this guy, it's going to this guy. And I even made sure in the video, I was like, Pa, who's the car going to? He's got a 2014 Dodge Challenger V8 Hemi Performance Package car. I'm like, Pa, who's the car going to? He says, oh, it's going to you. I said, okay, all right, good. That's in the video. So I'll be getting the car. Everything else, don't give a fuck about it.
By the way, now he has two cars. Ah. We are at funny again. Oh,
But I'm getting the car, and obviously a few other things that growing up, would have sentimental value to me. But otherwise, he's giving away a lot of the stuff to like different family members and friends, etc. And I've had to organize all of that and do all of that. It's been a lot of work for me, and the work is not over, but it is beginning to recede, which is good. Um, so I've lost my mom in 2021, lost my dad, and
that was 2020. That was 4 years ago. Oh my God. It felt like it was 2 years ago or something like that. Not four. Jesus Christ. Time flies by.
now it's just me. And it's a weird feeling. It certainly is, and I think to myself a lot about it. And I don't really know what to think or how to feel, or I don't think there is a right way to I don't know, like to feel this way. But my dad, at the end of the day, always really did try to do his best for me, and like you guys know on my stream and everything, he was a part of my stream, and uh, you know, I don't think I'll ever really be the same after losing him and going through all of this. But I
Of course not. Think, things that happen in your life change you. That's normal. Like literally, it's normal. That happens to everyone. And if it doesn't to you, then there might something wrong. Might. Not necessarily, but might. It depends. That's a thing, like always in life. It depends.
I to be honest, the only thing that I really felt is that I felt really sad when he passed away, is because there was things that I had wanted to do for him, right? Like, for example, he's a veteran, he's a Vietnam veteran, and I had wanted to go and have him take one of the honor flights to Washington, D.C., and see the memorial and everything. And this is something he had wanted to do, and I had agreed to go with him and to do that. And because you have like a +1, and they take a lot of the old vets there, and I was really sad. And there was that and a number of things, and to be honest, like not capitalizing and not doing more of those things. Obviously, like I did a lot of things with him, but I have a tremendous amount of regret for not doing more. And
That's normal. Regret is not. Oh God, I should have paused this. Yeah, yeah. Regret is normal. Everyone regrets some things in their lives. Of course, that's normal, especially when it comes to other people. Yeah, that's yeah, that's just life.
it's one of those things where, I've had only a few of these in my life where you actually can't undo this. You can't go back and redo it or fix it or undo it or anything like that. You just simply have to live the rest of your life with the consequences of it. And knowing that is it I hope I don't make that mistake again. I will do my best to never make that mistake again. I'll tell you that. And I, that's pretty much about it. Um, you know, uh, it's weird even now. Like I'll like think about it. It's like it's 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock now, right when I'm recording this, And I'm like thinking like, oh, I should probably call my dad, check in on my dad, and there it is, right? And so I it's gonna take me some time to kind of like get past it. I remember this is the day that we agreed to put him on hospice. I come in and it's like 2 p.m. or like 3 p.m. I come into to his room, and he says, "Well, why aren't you streaming?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? Why am I not streaming? You're fucking dying." Like he's like, "Ah, so whatever. Well, you need to go live. Like, what are you doing?" And so, this is
Yeah.
the kind of guy he was, and I intend on.
And that's why everyone loves him. That's why. Ah, man.
Honor that wish, and I'm not gonna be gone forever. I'll be back soon. It's what he would want, and I think it's what's best. I'm incredibly lucky that I was able to deal with all this by myself. My dad, growing up, and is like the oldest member of the family, patriarch in a lot of ways of the family, would help people with all kinds of stuff, etc. And I find myself tremendously lucky and fortunate that I was able to deal with all of this by myself, and nobody else had to see him in the state that he was in at the end. And they can have the memories of him being a strong, smart, uh, you know, nice, kind guy, uh, and funny. Very funny.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I I'm very glad that I was able to do all that myself, and nobody had to see what I saw. Not a good time. But anyway, um, I will be back. I don't really have a time frame, maybe a week or so, right? I mean, I don't know, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, something like that. If it's longer, too bad. If it's shorter, surprise. So that's
Yeah.
pretty much where I'm at. And also for all you guys, I made a post about this on Twitter. All you guys that left positive comments and messages, is in this hospital bed. I showed him. I was fucking scrolling. I was like, look at all these messages. Everybody wants you to get better. They're praying for you, everything like that. And like he really appreciated it even then. Like I think he was kind of in shock that it was so many of you all, and so that's really appreciated, and it means a lot. It meant a lot to him. It means a lot to me, and thank you. And so uh, I'll see you soon. That's about it. I, you know, son of a bitch, motherfucker. I just, it's been a fucking crazy past 5 years. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my God, past 5 years. Yeah, 2000. The Rona. Yeah.
But um, that's where we're at. So I wanted to tell you guys all what happened, and that's pretty much about it. And thank you guys, everybody, and I'll see you soon. Peace.
I hope. I haven't watched any of his streams in a long, long while because I'm actually busy myself. Um, I hope I will catch his return stream. And you know what would be funny? If Asmondad is now, so yeah, 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 maybe I should get some shit done, and then within 1 year he's married. Now that would be funny. That would be so funny. You know, married within 1 year, and 1 year later, oh yeah, here's my son or daughter. That would be so funny. That would be hilarious. Yeah, man, that's life. People live, people die.